The alien forest stretched endlessly, a living maze of towering trees and glowing plants. Bioluminescent vines hung like curtains from the branches, swaying gently in a breeze that felt almost alive. Somewhere deep in the forest, a sound broke the quiet, the soft, desperate voice of a girl. "Please, don't give me to them." Captain Elias Wren froze, listening. The voice was trembling, faint, yet urgent. It was coming from somewhere nearby. Hidden behind the thick trunks and glowing undergrowth, Elias crouched, his instincts on high alert. He was not in the business of rescuing strangers, but something about the desperation in that voice struck him in a way he did not understand. He moved cautiously, scanning the dense forest. There, barely visible, a small figure huddled behind a massive tree. The girl's wide eyes were full of terror. Her hands clutched the bark, knuckles white, and she trembled as if the very air around her was dangerous. "Who are you?" Elias asked softly, stepping closer, though careful not to startle her. The girl flinched. Don't come too close," she whispered. They're hunting me. Please, don't let them find me." Elias looked around. The forest was quiet now, but he knew better. Hunters in this part of the galaxy did not announce themselves. They were quiet, patient, and deadly. He scanned the sky, noting movement among the treetops. Tiny drones hovered above, their sensors glowing faintly red. Energy nets hummed faintly in the distance, waiting to trap anything that moved. He realized immediately that the girl was in more danger than he could have imagined. "Stay behind me," he said. "I'm going to get you out of here." Her eyes widened. You'll protect me?" Elias nodded. "Yes, just trust me." The girl hesitated for a moment, then slowly moved behind him. Her small hands clutched his jacket as they stepped into the forest. Each movement was careful, calculated, but every snap of a twig made the girl flinch. Elias kept glancing behind him, making mental notes. The hunters were close, and he needed a plan. "Who are they?" he asked gently. "Why are they after you?" "My people. They want my people," she said, voice trembling. "They take us, sell us, experiment on us. They've been hunting us for centuries." "I'm the last." She trailed off, trembling even more. Elias frowned. He had faced danger before, but this was different. He had seen humans fight, survive, and even thrive against overwhelming odds. That was part of what made humans special. But this situation required more than strength. It required cleverness, cunning, and quick thinking. He spotted a fallen tree trunk ahead, half hidden beneath glowing moss. It was wide and stable enough to serve as a bridge over a shallow ravine. Carefully, he led the girl onto it. Her steps were hesitant, but he guided her with gentle hands. As they crossed, he whispered, "Keep low. Don't make a sound." The girl nodded, gripping his jacket tightly. Her small fingers dug in, and Elias felt a surge of protective instinct. This was not just another mission. This was something personal. Somehow, he had to get her out alive. The hunters were not far behind. From the rustle of leaves and the faint hum of drones, Elias estimated they had less than 10 minutes before they were spotted. He needed to slow them down, thinking quickly. He glanced around and spotted a patch of alien spore plants. One touch, and they released a cloud of thick, colorful spores. Humans had learned to adapt, to use what nature offered, and this was one of those moments. He reached for a branch and knocked it against the spore plants. A cloud of thick green and blue spores exploded into the air, drifting toward the path they had come from. The girl coughed and waved her hands in front of her face, but Elias grabbed her arm and pulled her forward. The hunter's drone swooped in, sensors scanning for heat and movement. The spores interfered with their detection systems, buying Elias and the girl precious seconds. He moved fast, guiding her deeper into the forest, weaving through massive roots and underhanging vines. "You're fast," the girl gasped. Are you human?" Elias smiled faintly. "Yes, and humans, we survive. We find a way." Her eyes widened, as if she had never met a human willing to help her. You could leave me here." "Why are you helping me?" Elias didn't answer immediately. He didn't need to. Some things went beyond words. He had seen fear, desperation, and injustice too many times to ignore them. Protecting someone like her was instinct. They moved for several minutes in silence, only the sound of their careful footsteps echoing among the massive alien trunks. The forest seemed alive around them. Some plants shifted slightly as they passed, as if the world itself was watching. Elias realized he could use this to his advantage. Humans understood patterns, movement, and strategy in ways others underestimated. He began to think quickly, forming a plan to shake the hunters off ahead. The forest opened slightly into a small clearing. The sunlight, faint and green from filtered leaves, glinted off rocks and streams. Elias led the girl there and crouched behind a large boulder. "They'll come through here," he said quietly. "We need to prepare. Can you move quietly?" The girl nodded. I can try." Elias scanned the clearing and noted several things. Fallen logs could be rolled, rocks could be displaced to create noise, and certain plants could be used as obstacles. He began arranging the environment subtly, creating distractions and traps without giving away their own position. Minutes later, a faint hum approached. The hunters were coming. They were careful, professional, methodical. Elias knew they would rely on technology and brute force, but they would not anticipate clever traps and the natural environment used against them. He whispered to the girl, "Stay low, stay silent, trust me." As the hunters entered the clearing, Elias triggered his first distraction. A small rock rolled down the slope, creating a noise in the distance. One of the drones turned, scanning the source. Then he knocked over a small spore bush, releasing a burst of bright green spores directly into the path of the nearest hunter. The girl gasped, but Elias held her close. The hunters hesitated, confused by the sudden interference. This gave Elias the opening he needed. He grabbed the girl's hand and dashed toward a narrow path between two massive trees, barely wide enough for them to pass. The drones tried to follow, but their sensors were thrown off by the spore cloud and the uneven terrain. They ran, leaping over roots and ducking under low-hanging vines. The forest seemed endless, but Elias knew the land. Humans had a way of observing, remembering, and predicting even the most chaotic environments. He led the girl through a series of twisting paths and hidden hollows, always one step ahead. Finally, they reached a small cave hidden behind a waterfall. The roar of falling water masked their entrance, and Elias quickly guided the girl inside. They collapsed against the cool stone, breathing hard. Are we safe?" the girl whispered, her voice trembling but calmer. "For now," Elias replied, "but we can't stay here long. They'll find us if we wait too long." The girl looked at him, her eyes wide with fear and gratitude. Why are you helping me? Humans are supposed to be different." Elias shook his head. "Humans are many things, but one thing we do is protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is who I am. That is who humans are. We find a way." She nodded slowly, her trembling easing just a little. I think I can trust you." Elias allowed himself a small smile. "Good, because we'll need trust and courage, and we'll need to be clever if we want to survive. We have to think like humans and fight like humans outside." The faint hum of the hunters' drones continued. They were relentless, unfeeling, and determined, but Elias was not afraid. He had faced impossible odds before, and humans had a way of surprising even the most advanced foes. With his skills, his mind, and now a new companion, he would do whatever it took to protect this girl. The forest was alive, dangerous, and full of unknown threats. But Elias knew one thing for certain: no hunter, no matter how advanced, could match human ingenuity and determination. And as long as he had breath in his lungs, he would not let her fall into their hands. The hunt had begun, and the forest itself would bear witness to a human's courage and cunning. Somewhere in the distance, the girl whispered once more, "Please, don't give me to them." Elias gripped her hand tighter. "I won't," he said. "I promise, not now, not ever." And with that, they disappeared deeper into the alien forest. Two unlikely allies against a relentless enemy, setting the stage for a struggle that would test courage, intelligence, and the unbreakable human spirit. Elias and Lyra moved deeper into the alien forest. the glow of the bioluminescent plants painting the path ahead in soft shades of green and blue. Every step had to be careful. The hunters were close, relentless, and their drones hummed faintly above, scanning for any sign of movement. Lyra's small hand clutched Elias's arm. She was trembling, but her eyes were wide with determination. How can we escape them? They're so fast, she whispered. Elias glanced at her. Speed isn't always the answer, he said. Humans survive because we think. We plan, and we use what we have around us. Watch and learn. The girl looked doubtful but stayed close. Elias led her to a dense thicket where the trees grew together, forming a natural barrier. He pushed aside some vines to reveal a narrow, hidden path barely wide enough for one person here. He said, "They won't find us easily, but we have to move carefully." Lyra nodded and followed him. As they slipped through the path, Elias kept scanning the surroundings. The forest was alive in ways most humans could never imagine. Some plants moved in response to sound or motion, releasing spores, sap, or even tiny defensive spikes. But humans had always adapted. Elias used these natural traps to their advantage, nudging branches and disturbing plants so that any hunter following would face obstacles at every turn. Minutes passed, but Elias knew it wasn't enough. The hunters were patient. They would track their prey relentlessly, and they had technology humans hadn't seen before. He needed to mislead them, to buy more time. He spotted a small stream running through the forest. Its water glimmered faintly with bioluminescence. A human mind worked differently. Elias grabbed a fallen branch, used it to push some glowing algae into the water, and created a trail that led in the opposite direction of their path. "There," he whispered. "They'll follow that instead of us. But it's only temporary." Lyra's eyes widened. You tricked them?" Elias smiled faintly. "Humans are good at solving problems with what we find around us. Now we keep moving." They continued along the hidden path, and the forest grew thicker. Vines hung lower, roots snaked across the ground, and the glow from the plants dimmed. Lyra stumbled once, and Elias caught her quickly. "Careful," he warned. "Every second counts." Lyra nodded, trying to control her fear. I want to help," she said. "I can sense danger. Sometimes before it comes." Elias raised an eyebrow. "Really?" She nodded. "I can feel when something is watching us. It's not much, but maybe it can help." He studied her for a moment. Her people were clearly different, maybe even more in tune with nature than humans. That made sense why the hunters wanted her. But humans were clever. With the right guidance, Lyra could become more than just a hunted child. She could be an ally, a partner in survival. "Good," he said. "Then start paying attention to everything: sounds, smells, the feel of the air." Humans survive by noticing what others miss. "You'll see." They had not gone far when a faint metallic hum reached their ears. Elias froze, crouching low. The sound grew louder, a patrol drone, scanning methodically for any sign of life. Elias's heart pounded, but he stayed calm. "Stay behind me," he whispered. "And don't make a sound." The drone hovered above, its sensors glowing red. Elias studied the patterns of its movement. Humans were masters of improvisation. He quickly grabbed a handful of glowing spores from the ground and threw them toward a thick tree trunk across the path. The spores exploded in a bright cloud, blinding the drone's sensors temporarily. It swiveled violently, trying to recalibrate, while Elias and Lyra slipped quietly into a hidden hollow beneath a tangle of roots. The girl's hands shook, but she was beginning to understand the power of clever thinking over brute force. They're smart," Lyra whispered. Elias chuckled quietly. "Yes, but humans are smarter." The path ahead narrowed even further. Roots formed natural steps, and vines blocked some passages entirely. Elias used his agility and knowledge of human climbing techniques to lead Lyra safely. He knew every step they took had to be precise. One mistake could mean capture. Suddenly, a rustle came from above. Elias froze. A hunter drone had detected movement higher in the trees. It swept down, forcing Elias to think fast. He grabbed a vine, swung Lyra to a safer spot behind a massive rock, and then ran toward a cluster of thick trunks, hoping to lose the drone in the maze of vegetation. The drone followed, but Elias had prepared a trap. He nudged a hollow log, causing a cascade of small stones to tumble down a slope. The noise and disturbance distracted the drone, which paused and recalibrated. Elias and Lyra dashed forward, deeper into the forest, after a tense few minutes. They reached a small clearing. The air was cooler here, and a soft mist hovered above the ground. Lyra gasped at the sight. A natural pool reflected the glowing forest above. Almost magical in appearance. Can we rest? She asked, exhausted. Elias shook his head. Not yet. We're not safe, but we can hide for a short while. He led her behind a cluster of tall ferns. The soft leaves hid them almost completely, while Lyra caught her breath. Elias studied the surroundings. The forest offered both danger and opportunity. Humans could use the terrain, the flora, and even the hunters' overconfidence to their advantage. He started formulating a plan. We need allies, he said finally. You mentioned your people have others hiding, right? Lyra nodded slowly. Yes. A few. They protect us when they can. But most are scared, and hiding is safer. They think humans are dangerous. They don't know you yet, Elias smiled. Then we'll show them humans are different. Humans survive, and humans protect those who cannot protect themselves. That's what I do. That's what I am. The girl looked at him with hope in her eyes. I hope they believe you. Their moment of rest was brief. From the edge of the clearing, a faint red glow appeared. Drones, another patrol, larger this time. Elias assessed the situation quickly. They could fight, but that would alert more hunters. They could run, but the path was uncertain. Humans thrived in unpredictability. Follow me, Elias whispered. We're going to lead them somewhere they don't expect. He spotted an ancient, hollow tree nearby. Its base was wide enough to crawl inside. Elias guided Lyra in, pressing her small body against the cool bark. They waited, barely breathing. The drones hovered above, scanning, and then moved on after a tense minute. Fooled by the natural camouflage. See? Elias whispered. Humans notice what others miss. That's our advantage. Lyra nodded, beginning to understand. I can feel it too. Danger, then safety. Elias smiled faintly. Exactly. And together, we can survive anything. The sun began to set. Although the alien forest light never completely faded, bioluminescent plants glowed brighter as darkness crept in. And Elias knew night would bring new challenges. Predators in the forest were more active, and the hunters would be relentless in the dark. We move at night, he said. Humans are adaptable. We see in ways others do not, and we survive where others fail. Trust me, Lyra nodded, determination growing in her eyes. She had been terrified when Elias found her, but now she felt a spark of courage. Together, she realized they could outthink the hunters, survive the forest, and find others who could help dot hours passed as they navigated the forest. Elias used every trick humans had mastered: silent movement, natural camouflage, understanding predator patterns, and predicting the hunter's behavior. The girl mirrored his actions, learning quickly. She ducked, hid, and moved with him. Becoming more than just a frightened child, she became a partner. Eventually, they reached a cliffside overlooking a valley below. The view was breathtaking. Forests stretched endlessly, rivers glimmered, and strange creatures moved far below. Elias took a deep breath. Humans had always explored, survived, and thrived against impossible odds. This was no different. We'll find your people, he said, and we'll make sure the hunters never catch us. Not tonight, not ever. The girl smiled faintly, hope shining through her fear. I believe you, Elias nodded. Good, because humans never give up. And tonight, we survive. From the distant forest below, faint red lights flickered. Hunters searching, unaware that their prey had already slipped past them. Humans always found a way, and Elias, with Lyra at his side, was determined to prove it once more. The forest was alive, the danger real, and the chase far from over. But for the first time, Lyra felt safe. And for Elias, the thrill of the challenge reminded him why humans always survived, no matter the odds. The sun had long disappeared behind the alien canopy, leaving only the soft glow of the bioluminescent plants to light the forest. Elias crouched behind a thick tree trunk, listening. The hum of the hunters' drones still lingered in the distance, though it was fainter now. He could sense they were regrouping. "Do you see them?" Lyra whispered, pressing against his side. Elias shook his head. "Not yet, but we're not safe staying here. We need help. And I think we can find it." Lyra's eyes widened. "Help who?" "Your people," Elias replied. "You said some are hiding, protecting others. We need to find them." The girl nodded hesitantly. "There's a small resistance, a few who fight back, but they don't trust outsiders, especially humans." Elias smirked faintly. "Then we'll have to show them humans are different, that we can survive and help." They moved carefully through the forest, Elias leading with quiet confidence. Lyra followed, her fear slowly turning into determination. She was learning from him. Every step taught her patience, awareness, and clever thinking. After an hour, they reached a narrow canyon. Water trickled through its base, reflecting the glow of the plants above. Elias paused. "The hunters won't come here. Too narrow. Too risky for their drones. But it's a good place to hide temporarily." They crouched behind rocks and ferns, catching their breath. Lyra's curiosity overcame her fear. "Captain, why do you risk your life for me? You could leave. Nobody would know." Elias studied her for a moment. His human instincts pushed him towards selfless action, protecting the weak, finding solutions where others saw only danger. That was human nature. "Humans protect those who cannot protect themselves," he said. "It's who we are. Courage isn't just fighting, it's doing the right thing when it's hard. And helping you, that's the right thing." Lyra looked at him with wide eyes. She wanted to trust him, and she did, even though she had learned caution all her life. I think I understand," she whispered. They moved deeper into the canyon. The walls were high and the path narrow, but Elias had learned to read nature, and humans had always thrived where others could not. Small creatures scuttled across rocks, and vines hung low, some pulsing faintly with light. He used the terrain to his advantage, stepping silently, avoiding loose rocks, and choosing the safest route. As they rounded a bend, they heard faint voices. Human ears, tuned to subtle sounds, could pick up more than most species. Elias held up a hand. "Stay quiet," he whispered. Ahead, in a small clearing, a group of aliens huddled around a fire. Their eyes were sharp, wary, and untrusting. Lyra's breath caught. That's them, my people," she whispered. Elias nodded. "Good, but we have to earn their trust. Be careful." He stepped into the clearing slowly, hands raised in a peaceful gesture. "I'm not a threat," he said in the universal galactic tongue. "My name is Elias Rin. I want to help." The aliens froze. One step forward, taller than the others, with glowing markings along its arms. "You are human," it said. "Why should we trust you? Humans are known for taking, not helping." Elias met the alien's gaze. "I understand your fear, but humans are capable of much more. We can adapt, think, and survive. And when we see someone in danger, we act. I am here to protect Lyra, and I am here to help your people survive the hunters." The aliens exchanged glances. Doubt lingered in their eyes, but Lyra stepped forward. He saved me. He led me through the forest. He tricks the hunters, avoids traps, and never hesitated to protect me." The leader studied Elias, then looked at Lyra. "If what you say is true, then maybe humans are different. Show us your skills. Show us your ways. Prove that you are more than a predator like the others." Elias nodded. "I can do that. But we must act quickly. The hunters are relentless. They will find you if we delay." The aliens led them to a hidden cave, deep within the canyon. It was a secure location, filled with supplies and crude technology. Here, the aliens had survived for generations, learning to avoid hunters and protect the young. Lyra introduced Elias to the others. "This is Captain Elias. He helped me. He can help us all." Elias studied the alien technology. It was advanced in ways he did not understand fully, but humans always had a knack for learning quickly. He examined energy shields, traps, and communication devices slowly. He began showing the aliens how to combine their skills with human ingenuity. "See this device," he said. pointing to a small energy emitter. If you place it here, it can create a decoy signature. The hunter's sensors will detect it instead of your real location. Humans always find ways to confuse technology. We turn the enemy's strengths into weaknesses. The aliens watched, fascinated. One of the younger ones whispered, We never thought of that. That is clever. Elias smiled faintly. Humans survive not just with strength, but with brains. We think, plan, and adapt. Hours passed as Elias trained the group, teaching them traps, camouflage techniques, and strategies to mislead the hunters. Lyra absorbed everything, her confidence growing. She moved with more purpose, learning how to sense danger, read terrain, and use her own abilities effectively. Suddenly, a distant rumble shook the cave. Elias tensed. Hunters, he whispered. They found a trail. We must prepare. The aliens readied their defenses. Using human strategies and their own knowledge, they set up obstacles, traps, and hidden paths. Elias organized them, showing them how to anticipate movements and act as a team. Lyra looked at him, eyes shining. You teach us to be brave, to think. I never imagined humans could be like this. Elias smiled faintly. Bravery is in all of us. Lyra, humans just showed in ways others underestimate, and we never give up. The rumble grew louder. From the cave entrance, faint red lights glowed. Hunters approaching. Elias assessed quickly. Time to test everything we've learned. Stay calm, follow instructions, and trust your instincts. Humans survive because we act, even when fear is all around us. The first hunters appeared at the edge of the canyon, their drones scanning. Elias triggered the decoy devices he had placed earlier. Bright flashes and false heat signatures appeared. Confusing the drones, hunters swerved, shouting commands. But the confusion allowed Elias and the aliens to prepare. He whispered to Lyra, Remember what we practiced. Watch, wait, then act. The hunters advanced carefully, stepping into paths rigged with obstacles. Logs tipped over. Rocks tumbled, and spore clouds erupted into the air. The aliens moved, with Elias using human tactics to mislead and slow the hunters. Every step, every reaction, every movement was calculated. One hunter tried to flank them, but Elias anticipated it. He used a simple rock trap, sending the hunters sprawling. Another drone swooped down, but Elias and Lyra triggered a reflective panel, bouncing light into the sensors, confusing it. The hunters hesitated, frustrated, and disoriented. Lyra moved beside Elias, her small hand steady. We can do this, she whispered. Yes, he replied. Together, humans and allies survive. The battle of wits continued for what felt like hours. Hunters adapted, but Elias adapted faster. Every human instinct, every lesson learned in survival, every ounce of creativity was used to protect the aliens and Lyra. By the end, the hunters were forced to retreat, unable to overcome the clever defenses. The aliens stared in awe. Humans, the leader murmured, You're remarkable. Elias shrugged slightly. We survive. We protect. We adapt. That is who we are. Lyra looked at him, hope shining in her eyes. I knew you were different. You saved us all. Elias nodded. And this is only the beginning. The hunters will return. But now, we are ready. Together, humans and allies can survive anything. And we will not be taken without a fight. As the group settled into the cave, Elias reflected on what had happened. Humans were often underestimated, even in the galaxy. But ingenuity, courage, and the will to protect others were qualities no technology could match. That was why humans endured. That was why humans survived. Outside, the alien forest was calm again. But Elias knew it would not remain so for long. The hunters would come back, stronger and more determined. But now, they had human minds on their side. And that was a force even the most advanced hunters could not easily overcome. The girl, Lyra, sat close to Elias. Do you really think we can win? She asked. He smiled faintly. Not just win, survive. And when humans survive. We don't just survive, we change the odds. We inspire hope. And hope is stronger than fear. Lyra nodded, understanding for the first time the power humans carried. They were small in number, yes, but clever, adaptable, and brave, and with Elias leading them, she knew they could face whatever the galaxy threw at them. The hunters were out there, patient and relentless, but humans always found a way. And tonight, they had found allies, hope, and the spark of courage that would guide them through the next challenge. The alien forest was alive with faint glowing light, casting long shadows across the ground. The hunters had retreated after their last failed attempt, but Elias knew it was only temporary. They would return stronger, smarter, and more determined. He crouched beside Lyra, the girl who had become more than a companion. She was now a partner in survival. "Tonight, we finish this," he said softly. "We make sure the hunters don't catch you, or anyone else, ever again." Lyra looked at him, her eyes wide but steady. How can we stop them? They have drones, weapons, everything." Elias smiled faintly. "We have something even better: brains, courage, and teamwork. Humans always find a way. And now, you and your people will see that too." The aliens, Lyra's hidden allies, gathered around. Their leader, a tall figure with glowing markings, spoke cautiously. "We've prepared traps, but the hunters will adapt quickly. How do you suggest we fight them?" Elias examined the terrain. The canyon where they hid was narrow, with high walls and twisted paths. It could be dangerous, but it could also be an advantage. "We'll use the forest and its terrain to our favor. They rely on technology and force, but we rely on creativity and clever thinking. Let's show them what humans can do." He divided the group into small teams. Some would create decoys and mislead the drones, others would set traps along the main paths, and a few, including Elias and Lyra, would lead the hunters into the heart of the canyon, where the final surprise awaited. Hours passed as the teams prepared. Every trap was carefully placed, spore clouds to blind sensors, hollow logs ready to collapse under weight, and reflective panels to confuse drone cameras. Lyra moved beside Elias, absorbing every detail, learning strategies, and anticipating the hunters' moves. Finally, distant lights appeared, hunters approaching. Their drones hovered, scanning, and the hum of their engines echoed through the canyon. Elias motioned for everyone to stay low and silent. "Remember," he whispered to Lyra, "we stay calm, act together, and think ahead. The hunters are strong, but humans are clever. They underestimate us, and that is our advantage." The first hunters entered the canyon, cautious but confident. Drones swept above, their sensors glowing red. Elias and Lyra waited behind a rock, hidden from view. The decoy traps triggered first. Glowing spore clouds erupted along false trails, confusing the drones and forcing the hunters to split up. "Now," Elias whispered. He led the group along a hidden path, carefully avoiding loose rocks and weak branches. The hunters were following, unaware that they were moving straight into a maze of traps and clever obstacles. A hunter tried to flank from the left. Elias had anticipated this. He triggered a log trap, sending a heavy tree trunk crashing down, blocking the path and forcing the hunter back. Lyra gasped but followed Elias closely, learning to act quickly and decisively. The hunters pressed on, frustrated but determined. They did not know the terrain as the humans and aliens did. Every step they took was manipulated by traps, clever misdirection, and the natural hazards of the forest. Elias led Lyra and a small team toward the center of the canyon, where a hidden clearing awaited. This was the heart of the trap. The floor was layered with weak stones, ready to collapse. Above, vines and hanging plants were rigged to drop or tangle anyone who approached. The hunters entered, confident and aggressive. Elias signaled the team, in perfect coordination. The traps were triggered, rocks tumbled, vines entangled, and the ground beneath the hunters collapsed, sending them sprawling. Drones whirled in confusion, hitting obstacles, and some were knocked down by falling branches. Lyra watched in awe. We can do this," she whispered. Elias nodded. "Yes, humans survive, and humans protect. Courage and cleverness are stronger than fear and technology." The hunters regrouped, attempting to climb out of the trap, but Elias anticipated every move. Reflective panels diverted drone cameras. Spore clouds blinded sensors, and hidden teams attacked strategically from the sides. never striking directly but always interfering. One particularly large hunter tried to push through the obstacles, determined to reach Lyra. Elias met him head-on. Using agility and quick thinking, he dodged attacks, guided the hunter into a collapsing section of ground, and neutralized him without harm. Lyra gasped, but Elias smiled faintly. Non-lethal, he said. Humans fight smart, not just hard. The rest of the hunters, seeing their technology fail and their strategy crumble, retreated. They did not give up completely, but they had been outsmarted, outmaneuvered, and forced to flee. Silence returned to the canyon. The forest seemed to breathe again, the glow of the plants soft and peaceful. Lyra ran to Elias, hugging him tightly. We did it. You saved us all. Elias hugged her back. We did it together. Humans are clever, yes, but it's teamwork that makes us unstoppable. Courage is strongest when shared. The alien leader approached, studying Elias with newfound respect. You, humans, are more than we believed. Your mind, your courage, your strategies. You have saved my people. Elias nodded. We survive because we adapt. We protect because we care. That is what humans do. Lyra looked around at her people. Captain Elias, you showed us humans are brave, clever, and protective. We will never forget this. The group worked together to secure the canyon, setting up defenses to ensure the hunters would not return easily. They shared knowledge, combining alien technology with human ingenuity to create traps, decoys, and surveillance systems. As the night wore on, Elias reflected on what had happened. Humans were often underestimated, even in the galaxy, but intelligence, creativity, and courage could overcome even the most advanced technology. Humans were small in number, yes, but their ability to adapt and think ahead made them formidable. Lyra sat beside him, exhaustion on her face but a spark of hope in her eyes. Do you really think we can stay safe now? Elias smiled. We've won tonight, but humans always prepare for the future. We'll stay vigilant, learn, and grow stronger. And if the hunters ever return, we'll be ready, because humans never give up, and humans always find a way. The aliens gathered around a small fire, celebrating their victory quietly. Lyra stood beside Elias. You gave us hope, she said softly. Elias placed a hand on her shoulder. Hope is powerful. Humans survive because we have it, and we share it. You've learned courage tonight, Lyra, and that courage will guide your people for generations. Outside, the forest was calm. The hunters had been driven back, their drones scattered, their strategy defeated. For the first time in a long while, the aliens felt safe, and Lyra felt a sense of belonging she had never known. Elias watched the glowing trees. Reflecting on the events, humans were often underestimated, but ingenuity, courage, and the will to protect others were qualities no technology could match. That was why humans endured. That was why humans survived. Lyra turned to him, eyes bright. Captain, what happens now? Elias smiled faintly. Now, we rebuild. We teach. We protect. And we prepare. The hunters may return, but humans will always find a way. And so will you? For the first time, Lyra believed it together. Humans and their allies had faced impossible odds and emerged victorious together. They would face whatever the galaxy held, clever, brave, and unyielding. The night passed peacefully, the forest glowing softly, and somewhere in the shadows, the distant hum of a retreating drone reminded Elias that the galaxy was vast, full of dangers but also full of opportunities for humans to prove themselves. He looked at Lyra and the aliens, proud of what had been accomplished. We survived tonight, he said, and that's just the beginning. Humanity always finds a way, and together we will thrive. The girl smiled, hope shining in her eyes. I believe you. Humans are incredible. Elias chuckled softly. Yes, and we'll show the galaxy exactly that. The hunters were gone for now, but Elias knew they might return someday, and when they did, they would face humans who were clever, adaptable, and fearless. The galaxy underestimated humans, but that was their greatest strength. And so, under the glowing alien trees, The night ended with quiet triumph. Humans had survived. Lyra had survived, and the galaxy had just witnessed the power of courage, ingenuity, and determination, the true strength of humanity.